Welcome to another episode of the Digital Tutor Spotlight. The Digital Tutor brings the great teachers of the world into your home, church, or Christian school to provide private e-tutoring to your students, teaching math, social studies, language arts, science, Bible, and elective subjects. The Digital Tutor is designed to help fathers obey God's command in Ephesians 6:4 to bring up their children in the training and instruction of the Lord. And now let's watch some clips from one of the instructional films that comes with the Digital Tutor Lessons Library, which you can purchase from the online store at thedigitaltutor.com.
While there are many lessons to be learned in the lives of different women in the Bible, a recent poll on ShiningstarsMagazine.com revealed that most visitors had a favorite young heroine. We know her as Esther, although her Hebrew name was Hadassah, which means myrtle. This beautiful young lady played an instrumental part in the salvation of a nation. I hope that all of you are familiar with her story, but for anyone who has not read it recently, let me refresh your memory. Like many a classic tale, this account involves an apparently capricious monarch, an evil villain, and a beautiful heroine. What makes this tale different than other ones is that we can see a divine presence moving in the lives of its characters, and we know that it is a true account because it is in the Scriptures. We also know that, according to 2 Timothy 3:16, it is given by inspiration of God and is profitable to us for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. Esther was a descendant of the tribe of Benjamin and lived as an exile in the land of Persia. She was an orphan, and her cousin Mordecai had adopted her. During a banquet, the ruler of Persia, King Ahasuerus, also known as Xerxes, had ordered his queen Vashti to appear before a crowd of revelers to display her beauty. She refused and was promptly deposed. The king's advisors suggested that he order all the fair young virgins across the kingdom to be brought to him in order that he might choose a new queen. Esther was one of these. Her cousin commanded her to not reveal her lineage, and it is likely that this is when her name was changed from Hadassah to Esther. We do not know how old Hadassah was when she was taken, but it is believed that she was probably a teenager. Among the many young women who were brought into the king's harem, Esther found favor in his eyes and was crowned the new queen of Persia. Shortly thereafter, her cousin Mordecai discovered a plot against the king's life and notified Esther. She in turn notified the king, and the would-be assassins were caught and executed. Strangely enough, Mordecai was not rewarded for this act of fidelity, but it was written in the book of the King's Chronicles. It was some years after this that Ahasuerus promoted a certain official over all the other princes. His name was Haman, and he was a descendant of Agag, an Amalekite king whom we read about in 1 Samuel chapter 15. In this account, the prophet Samuel brought a message from the Almighty to King Saul of Israel, commanding him to destroy all of the Amalekites. Saul disobeyed the order and saved the king Agag alive. This aspect of the story shows very clearly the detrimental results that can take place when we do not practice complete obedience to Yahweh's commands. The prophet Samuel informed King Saul that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, a sin so serious that it deserved the death penalty. In Saul's case, his disobedience caused him to be rejected by God as the king of Israel. Many years later, this descendant of Agag, named Haman, plotted to destroy all of the Jewish people in Persia and received permission from King Ahasuerus to carry out this plan. We can only imagine that if King Saul had followed orders hundreds of years before, Haman would not have been around to scheme up such a terrible plan as the destruction of Yahweh's chosen people. Nevertheless, the Almighty was faithful to his covenant with his children and brought about their salvation and redemption through the Queen of Persia. When Haman obtained permission to carry out his dastardly plot and to employ everyone in the nation to this purpose, Mordecai requested that Esther petition the king to save the lives of her people. She was hesitant due to the fact that the king had not requested her presence for the past 30 days. She knew that anyone who approached the king without an invitation was likely to be put to death. Mordecai insisted that it was for this purpose she had been brought to the kingdom, and Esther submitted to him as she had when she was under his authority. She requested that all the Jews gather to fast and pray for 3 days, while she did the same. She agreed that once this had happened, she would go before the king. Her courage and self-sacrifice was evident in the memorable phrase, "And if I perish, I perish." As we might imagine, when Esther went before the king, he extended the golden scepter to her, a sure sign that she found favor in his sight. He asked her request and offered her half his kingdom. But she simply petitioned him to attend a banquet and to invite Haman as well. While at the banquet, King Ahasuerus again asked her request and offered her half his kingdom. One might think this was the perfect time to make her petition, but she only requested that he and Haman attend another banquet on the following day. Haman left the palace happy and no doubt with a strong sense of his own importance. However, as he passed the gate, he saw Mordecai, who refused to bow down to him as the other king's subjects did. Angered, he rushed home to complain to his wife and friends, and they suggested that he build very tall gallows, and the following morning he should request permission of the king to execute Mordecai before going to the banquet. Haman followed the advice, had the gallows built, and hurried to the king early in the morning to ask permission. It just so happened that the king had been unable to sleep and had requested that the chronicles be read to him. He heard the account of how Mordecai had saved his life and realized that he had never been rewarded. When the servants informed the king that Haman was in the court waiting to see him, the king invited him in and asked what ought to be done for the man whom the king delighted to honor. Humility was not one of Haman's virtues, and he somehow got the impression that the king wanted to honor him. Acting on this idea, he suggested that the man be clothed in royal robes and a crown, that he be placed on a horse that the king had ridden, and that one of the most noble princes in the kingdom accompany him through the streets, announcing, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." We can only imagine Haman's surprise and chagrin when it turned out to be Mordecai whom the king wished to honor. The king ordered Haman to be the most noble prince and to accompany Mordecai through the streets of the city. Once Haman finished this task, he rushed home to mourn to his friends, only to be reminded that he had a banquet to attend at the palace. It was at this second banquet that the king once again asked Esther for her request, offering her half his kingdom. It is then that she pled for the lives of her people, revealing to the king the atrocity of his orders and the villainy of his most noble prince, Haman. Haman was quickly removed from his high position, and ironically met his end on the very gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. The king was unable to retract the decree for the destruction of the Jewish people, but following Esther's request, he issued another decree authorizing the Jews to defend themselves and to plunder those who attacked them. Mordecai became very powerful and influential in the king's court, and the Jews were greatly feared and highly respected. Through Esther's bravery and self-sacrifice, countless lives were saved. This may be why she is a popular Bible character. We all admire courage, and deep down inside there is a desire to exemplify heroism. There is a certain thrill that corresponds with the idea of daring deeds. In fact, we can admire brave women throughout the scripture, such as Shiphrah and Puah, the Hebrew midwives who defied Pharaoh's orders to kill male children; Jael, who hammered a tent peg through the head of an enemy of her people; Rahab, who sheltered Israelite spies; a certain woman, name unknown, who hurled a millstone onto an enemy leader. Frankly, though, few of us have opportunities like these women, and we may be tempted to regard heroism as something foreign and distant, something that we will never have the opportunity to practice. Nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, few of us will ever become the Queen of Persia, or the accomplice of a foreign spy, or have occasion to exterminate an enemy general. However, this world is desperately in need of courageous women who unwittingly demonstrate heroism by practicing godly womanhood. Our culture does not appreciate godly women, and it takes brave determination to stand against the forces of darkness that would like to destroy the children of God. Since I believe most, if not all of us, appreciate heroism and would like to practice it in our own lives, let's look at Esther's life and see what we can learn from her example. Through simply reading the story of Esther, we can find several character traits that she exemplified. There was submission, modesty, contentment, courage, discernment. While the above-mentioned characteristics are very obvious and apparent, I decided to dig a little deeper for more clues into Esther's character. Through a short study in the book of Proverbs, we can learn about more character traits that cause one to find favor in the eyes of a king. I think it is safe to assume that Esther demonstrated these characteristics, as it is evident that she found favor in the eyes of the king more so than all the women that were brought to him. In chapters 14, 16, and 22 of Proverbs, we learn that monarchs appreciate the following traits: a pure heart, a wise servant, diligence, gracious lips, righteous lips, those who speak right. We need to learn how to apply these characteristics to our daily lives, because it is through practicing these virtues that we can aspire to heroism. Our heroine queen of Persia exhibited incredible courage and self-sacrifice, and these are the same traits that we will find necessary in the pursuit of godly womanhood. In the lessons to follow, I would like to share some thoughts on how we can acquire these characteristics in our own lives.
The film you just watched is one of the hundreds of films that are a part of the E64 Educational Library. E64 is a computerized curriculum that combines video instruction, text-based instruction, music, computerized testing, competitions, games, and more to create a unique tool for learning. Just a few of the ways that E64 is being used around the world include a homeschool curriculum for parents who want to give their children a strong biblical worldview education, a Christian school curriculum for learning to read, math, science, history, and Bible studies, a family integrated Sunday school curriculum for churches that are moving towards a more biblical family integrated model, a tool for fathers to do family worship in their homes, and a tool for church leaders to train their men to be strong spiritual leaders in their homes. The E64 library is currently over 35 gigabytes of instructional material and can be purchased on a handy flash drive by going to the website at e6-4.com. Give us a call if you would like for someone to come to your church, homeschool group, business, or other organization to do a live demonstration of the software. If you are a strong supporter of Christian education, then you may want to consider becoming an E64 distributor. We can provide you with the tools and training to start your own home business as an education consultant. Ephesians 6:4 commands fathers to bring their children up in the training and instruction of the Lord. For fathers who want to obey this command, there's no better tool than E64. What is biblical womanhood? Is it relevant for this day and age? Or is it a vague, far-off mindset that is confined to the past? Are there biblical standards and instructions that outline a godly woman's lifestyle? Or are we free to set our own standards? Many young women of today are swept along in the current of our culture or society, following the protocols and standards of what is considered normal and acceptable. As modern-day feminism continues to strengthen its hold on our society, people are losing sight of the masculine and feminine roles that are ordained by the Almighty from the beginning of history. Much of what is considered normal and acceptable in this culture is quite contrary to what the Bible teaches, while those who desire to pattern their lives according to biblical standards often find themselves the object of contempt and scorn. 5 years ago, out of a desire to encourage young women, a vision was born. That vision was Shining Stars Magazine. Shining Stars Magazine is a quarterly publication designed to encourage and exhort women of all ages in femininity and biblical womanhood. The content of this magazine includes submissions from many readers and seeks to bless and strengthen ladies around the globe. The website for Shining Stars features many articles that have been published in previous issues, interviews with young ladies who rejoice in living home-centered lifestyles, wholesome reading recommendations, featured home businesses, monthly giveaways, and more. ShiningstarsMagazine.com is one of our many partner websites where you can watch E64 lesson videos. So be sure to visit ShiningstarsMagazine.com today.
In Matthew 6:20, Jesus said to store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. One of the best ways to store up treasures in heaven is to invest in the biblical education of the next generation. When you become an official tester for the digital tutor, You play an important role in bringing about that education. The digital tutor is already a unique and robust curriculum. But the two final development phases in which you will be involved are going to turn it into the most innovative and amazing curriculum in the world. Let me explain. The current development phase of the software, which has already been extensively tested and works great, is the lesson plan phase. Currently, teachers can build a lesson plan for a student and the digital tutor will provide the instruction, administer questions and answers with immediate feedback, conduct a review, administer final exams, and keep detailed records of the student's progress. The next phase of development is the transcript generator. This is where your testing is going to help us tremendously. We are grouping lessons into courses and assigning elements such as the lower and upper ages for a course and the number of credit minutes in each subject represented by a course. The functions you will be testing include assigning courses to your student using the information provided, allowing the digital tutor to carry them through those courses for a period of 3 or 4 weeks, and then printing out a transcript for that period, which includes subjects, courses, scores, and credit minutes or hours. Once this development phase is complete, it will be time to work on the final and most exciting phase, the auto tutor. Using the tools developed in this transcript generator phase, the auto tutor will automatically assign a complete course load to your student based on the student's developmental age and a series of reviews and tests. To show you why we are so excited about the auto tutor, let me explain what you will be able to do when it is operational. Let's say you have a 6-year-old who is ready to begin learning to read. What would you have to do to plan and execute his education for the next 12 years? I'm going to give you a step-by-step demonstration of everything that will be required. Number 1, assign your student an account with a unique login name. Number 2, open the student's profile and input a developmental age of 6. Number 3, print out his high school transcript when he finishes high school. Whoa! You say, what happened to 12 years of hard work, all the planning, the implementation of curriculum for all those years? The answer is the digital tutor will do all of that for you. It will build your student's course load, beginning with Jacqueline Smith's Learning to Read program, and carry your student course by course through 12 years of instruction. All you have to do is make sure he does the work the digital tutor assigns every day and be available to answer any questions he may have. Not only will the digital tutor be the easiest curriculum you've ever tried to implement, it will employ the great teachers of the world as your students' private e-tutors. Look at just a few of the teachers who have already contributed lessons. Jacqueline Smith, mother of 12 children, 8 of whom are adopted, and an expert in early learning and teaching special needs children. Israel Wayne, world-renowned speaker and director of Wisdom's Gate Publishing. Dr. Marshall Foster, the president of the World History Institute. Tim Eccles, founder of Teen Pact. Jay Schabacher of Understanding the Creation Ministries. Gubernatorial candidate Ray McBarry, Director of 10th Amendment Solutions. Kevin Swanson, Director of Generations with Vision. These are just a few of the dozens of teachers who have already created lessons for the digital tutor. And the fact that we are continually searching for and signing up the great teachers of the world means that every year you will have even more courses to choose from. And yes, you will have choices, because the digital tutor will allow you to choose just how much control you want over your student's course load. If you don't do anything, it will manage your student's education for you all the way through high school. However, if you choose, you can manage any or all of it yourself, selecting the courses for your student's course load, setting priorities for each subject, or inserting individual lessons into your student's lesson plan. You will also be able to insert non-computer-based courses into your students' records, so you can track field trips, music lessons, or any other type of instruction and include these in the student's transcript or permanent record. So how hard is it to monitor your student's daily progress with the digital tutor? At any time, you can walk up to your student's computer and click F3 to get a toolbox full of tools you can use. The daily record gives you a detailed look at everything your student has done today, including the times. For a broader viewpoint, check the exam record and see all the exams your student has taken, showing dates and scores. And for the really big picture, you can print out a transcript or report card for a range of dates, showing how many credit hours have been completed for each subject and course, along with the average scores. Now, can you see why we are so eager to complete testing on the transcript generator and move on to the final development phase? Your testing will not only point out bugs or things that don't work properly, you will actually be providing input into what you would like to see in a transcript or permanent record, and what kind of tools would make it easier for you to choose a course load for your student. So let's take a few moments and go step by step through the process of setting up and testing the digital tutor. As a way to say thank you for your help, we will be giving you the opportunity to download up to $125 worth of software for free. So let's get started.
Do you have friends in your church, homeschool support group, or civic club who would benefit from learning how to earn income from a home business? Then call Captain Brett to schedule a home business video workshop. This workshop features video instruction from Ray Perry, homeschooling mother of 7 entrepreneurs and the founder of Educating for Success, the online community designed to bring families together with home business. In this workshop, you will hear the amazing story of how Ray's son Drew, at age 17, brought his dad home from his corporate job by developing a real estate portfolio. You will learn the 10 keys to success in becoming an entrepreneurial family. You will learn the 3 types of genius your children may possess and how to leverage that into profitability. You will learn about the 8 different kinds of intelligence, 6 of which are never tested for or developed in the government school system, and how all of them can be used to generate income. You will learn how to build a winning team and take responsibility for the education of your family. And finally, there will be over 2 hours of specific instruction on how to start and run 10 different online businesses, including administrative virtual assistant, search engine optimization expert, social media expert, creating membership websites, website content manager, online bookkeeping, and more. This life-changing workshop will be hosted by Captain Brett and can be scheduled for your church, homeschool support group, or civic club for only $20 per family. Opportunity is knocking. Open the door today by calling the Homeschool Advantage at 678-570-2195.
How would you like to spend some time getting to know other families who are interested in Christian education? Then host an E64 showcase party. It's easy and fun. All you have to do is open your living room on a Tuesday night at 6:30 for a few families to come and watch the E64 showcase on your TV, and maybe you want to offer some popcorn and soda. After the show, we'll do a live demonstration of the E64 software. Call Captain Brett at 678-570-2195 to set it up.
Hi, my name is Bethany, and this is my mother, Jacqueline. Tell us what you're doing today, Mom.
I'm working in the office today. I have about 4 hours worth of work to do to finish up our income taxes for the year and get them in the mail. And since the children are a great interruption to that process, making it virtually impossible to finish, Maddie is going to be supervising their schoolwork today for me, and they're all forbidden to come in the office.
So the children are on their own. What are they doing? Does today have to be a non-school day? Not at all, because we use E64. Let's start in the den and see what the children are doing. We have 3 laptop computers set up here in the den. Let's visit with Sutara first. Hi, Sutara. Why don't you tell us what you're working on today?
I'm working on E64 math.
Wow. So what other things can you do with E64?
English, history, science, and Bible studies.
That's neat. So how do you know what lesson you're supposed to be working on?
I don't have to know. I just log in with my name, and the program goes right to the lesson where I'm supposed to be. And if I stop in the middle of a lesson, when I sign back in, it remembers where I was.
That's great. Let's go take a look at what Madison and Gavito are doing. Hi, boys. What are y'all working on today?
Learning to read.
What are you reading about?
Noah and the Ark. It's so cool. Look, here's all the animals coming out of the ark.
That is cool. Let's go see what Madara is working on. Hi, Madi. I see you're doing your E64 schoolwork. What are you studying?
Today I'm learning about how to care for babies and infants.
Aw, that sounds so exciting. What else will you do today?
Today is Mom's bill paying day, so in addition to my own schoolwork, it's my job to see that the children do their chores and their schoolwork. There are not enough computers for everybody, so while Joshua is doing his E64, I have Yedek working on his chores. After about an hour, I'll have them swap out. I do the same thing with Armand and Sitara.
How do you know what each child needs to be working on?
Mom has chore cards she makes for each one of the children, so I just have to read their card to know what chores they are supposed to do. And she has already made their lesson plan for E64, so I just follow the lesson plan for each child. The computer keeps track of their schoolwork. All I have to do is make sure they are working and not being idle.
How do you do that?
That's easy. Watch this. If I press F3, it comes up with a daily record showing everything I've done today, including the times. So from time to time, I just go around, look at the daily record for each of the children. I can see everything he or she has done or not done, as the case may be.
Thank you, Madi. Let's go see what's going on in the great room. Hi, Wally. What are you working on?
I'm working on creating the video for the next lesson in Mom's Learning to Read lesson series.
Wow. Will you be doing anything else today?
Yes, I'm going to be working on my E64 lessons.
Thank you, Wally. And now, we see how Jacqueline can keep the children on track with their schoolwork and still have time to get her important paperwork done. The key is the lesson plan feature of E64. Because she has designed lesson plans for each of the children, E64 will provide the instruction with very little intervention needed by a teacher.